What's going on, fam? Lazy booking Wednesday night. Lots to talk about WWE this weekend. Like, subscribe, follow. Let's get rolling.
Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright.
Yep. Yeah. I got something.
That's
for
amazing.
I
did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
Welcome, everybody. Live A2D Radio. Lazy booking coming at you on another Tuesday night. Niche night. Back at it again. Hockey happy hour coming later. But first, we got a lot of wrestling to talk about. First and foremost, though, little love to our sponsor, Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find, I got these damn dogs barking in the background. Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find them in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. So make sure if you have any aches and pains, any long-lasting injuries, hit up the doc and his award-winning team, and they'll get you taken care of. Never fails, guys. Didn't it happen before, Andy? Right when I hit the start, the dogs started going.
Absolutely.
They've been quiet all day. But anyway, welcome in, guys. Once again, I am your host here, Chrome, for Lazy Booking. Happy to welcome in my opinion, an absolute all-star panel here today to talk about a huge weekend for WWE. You have myself over here. You have Andy Ritz from In This Very Ring. Also next to him, Neeson Williams, my guy, THS Wrestling. He does all over the place. Actually, there's times where you may put like an acknowledged tribal chief GIF in, and his GIF pops up quite often. That exact GIF. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to be here. You know, I'm excited to talk about the beatdown that Gunther put on. Jey, like the Florida Panthers did the Edmonton Oilers last night. You know, so you just talked about hockey, so that's why I just popped in my head. You know, I got
you. Listen, that was a rough one for me too. I mean, I'm not a Connor McDavid fan, but I digress.
Yeah.
Pete Evans below me here. Pete, welcome in, buddy, In This Very Ring, amongst other A2D shows over the years. How are you?
I'm good, but pause. You said below you. This to make sure. Like I prefer.
Yeah, no, that was a conscious choice of words there.
She was just saying he's a top, man. Just
like, come on now.
And the show's off the rails.
Already.
I'm happy to be here. All-star panel. Very interesting happenings coming off of Money in the Bank and even last night's Raw. So I'm eager to get into it.
Absolutely. And we welcome back an A2D legacy legend over here, Mr. Michael Mataraki. What's up, Mikey?
Hey, man, you can't blame the show going off the rails on me. I didn't even have my microphone on yet.
I know, and that's very rare because it's quite often we can point at Mataraki. We know Mikey Smalls is the one that get off the rails.
Well, in that case, one word, 4 letters. Damn.
Guys, it's going to be a fun conversation. I know. It's going to be a fun conversation. But let's hit our opening topic, again, brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Last night, Monday Night Raw, full of surprises, but I think none more so than the main event. So let's dive into it. WWE made the correct decision, changing the World Heavyweight Championship from Jey Uso to Gunther. Do you agree or disagree? And anybody out there in the chat, watching on YouTube, watching on X, watching on Facebook, please chime in on the conversation. Any questions, comments? You want to get in on this conversation? We'll pop your comments up here. And I'm back. We'll pop your comments up there, and we'll get it rolling. But Andy, why don't you kick us off here? Everybody started spinning on me. I don't know. Go ahead, Andy. Kick us going.
Man, so I still haven't figured out where I landed on this, because if you've watched me on In This Very Ring talking about Gunther's title run, it was just so lackluster for me the entire time until he started feuding with Jey Uso, and we really started to see more of that emotion and more of that depth building with his character. And I was hoping we were going to stay with that. The stuff with McAfee was really good. But now here he is champion again. And while Jey as champion just kind of, he'd always get the crowd involved and everything like that. They hadn't given him anything of real note yet either. So to say it's a good decision or not, I don't know. Right? But I don't agree putting it back on Gunther. Right? So to answer the poll question, I disagree. I don't think it was a good idea to go back on Gunther when he was just starting to add this new level of his character and really start to see this flourish. You there?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point, and I do have this same kind of. Can you not hear me?
Oh no,
The fix is in.
Yeah.
You guys,
Dog's got to your router, man.
I don't know what's going on. This is nuts. I never have a problem, and this is like the worst start to a show I've ever had in my life. But go ahead, Easton. Dive in. Good points, Andy, by the way.
Yeah. I had this conversation not too long ago about they were like, is Jey having a good run? And I thought yes, because this is when's the last time you really seen a babyface have so many people surrounding him and people not booing him or already getting sour on him? The crowd is still yeeting. They still want to see more, but also to me, it was the stories that was surrounding him, right? You had Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins chasing him. You had Gunther, of course. You had Logan Paul. You've had I forgot it was somebody else after that was like mentioned, like, I want your spot, like, I'm coming to get your title as well. Like, you had these people that basically were already out the gate. Top people, I want you. And I felt like we didn't see the full run of, okay, Jey defending over 6 months, at least give it the 6 months run, at least give it the SummerSlam to really iron out who Jey Uso is as a champion and really have it stamped as what his championship reign was. To me, it feels just like the Kofi Kingston, Brock Lesnar thing. Like, yeah, you had Samoa Joe. Like, people remember Samoa Joe, right? That what else was in there? And then Brock Lesnar comes out, it's over, and we remember his reign as just being a Brock Lesnar 6-second match and it being done. And I feel like now we just remember Jey Uso being Gunther, he beat Gunther at Mania. Then he lost to Gunther on a Monday night after Money in the Bank, like on a Monday Night Raw. You see what I'm saying? So like, he had one title defense against Logan Paul on a pay-per-view, and that was it.
This is so much like his Intercontinental title run too. So like, what does that say about? Yeah, the guy's over. The guy's more over. It was proved at Survivor Series. He's more over than Roman Reigns, but you're giving him the shortest title runs when it comes to the Intercontinental title, when it comes to this title. We got it from Royal Rumble, right? He wanted the Rumble. He did the impossible, right? The catalyst, all that. Then you go to WrestleMania and you have a great match at WrestleMania. You tear the house down and you get that moment. I still think it should have ended, but I'll die on that hill.
Right.
And then you fast forward to a Monday Night Raw after a pay-per-view where you weren't even the main event on the pay-per-view, number one. And then number two, when have we ever said, oh, you got to watch the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank, right? That we're not in that era anymore. And so to just pull it off of a match that we've been talking about for 2 weeks now, to just pull it off of him, to set up Gunther and have Seth chase Gunther, right? To your point, who's the babyface there? You had the babyface. You had it set up for Seth. For Jey versus Seth, and have them lingering in the background, those hounds and everything.
So, Andy, I have a question for you because you make some great points there. But my question is, late in that match, when they were trading sleeper holds, and there was the moment where they were both sort of down and out of it, and you weren't quite sure who was going to recover first. you can't tell me there wasn't one little part of you that was waiting for Seth's music to hit.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm like that.
Mhm.
I'll be like that from now until Seth cashes in the title.
Right, but that's why they have a title match, the Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank, because they want you thinking there's going to be an immediate cash in, even though we all know there's not going to be.
Yeah,
but when they've all went down in the tag match, when all four of them had just like traded signature moves and things like that, and they're laying down, I thought Seth's music was going to hit then.
Right.
That would have been better for me, because now with no build, no anticipation, everybody looks to Monday Night Raw. Oh my God, Seth pinned Jey at Money in the Bank. Now it's Seth versus Gunther. What? And that was that'd be more enjoyable for me to watch. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I took over. Sorry, I took that off the rails.
That's all right. I needed to because my internet was not working. So go ahead, Nisa.
No, I went. I agree. Basically, I just don't see where. I disagree that it was the right thing for Gunther to win. I don't know. This doesn't, unless they say Jey goes, and I don't like looking for, okay, well, what does Jey do? But it's kind of like that. Like, you use Jey, you said it best. You use Jey the same way you used them with the Intercontinental title. You just used them with the World title. What did that do for the World title? And then what did that do for Jey?
Well,
right?
I think good.
So that's where I'm at with it.
I think my concern with it is, like, I can't imagine that Gunther's the end game. I can't imagine they have this epiphany that says, hey, because I personally thought Gunther deserved better in his title run. I can't imagine they had this epiphany that, hey, now we know how we're going to book him. So we went 2 months without him having the title, and now we're going to switch it back. So to me, it's almost like Jey became a transitional champion, which transitioned to Gunther, who, in my opinion, is going to be another transitional champion to whoever wins it, say at SummerSlam, right? So I don't know if this means maybe you get a face run from Gunther and Seth goes after him. It could be.
I think Seth is the red hair, and I don't see Seth being a world title. I see Seth going for the heavyweight title, if anything, but going for the world title, you got to look at that lineup for King of the Ring. Like, there's a bunch of big, meaty men about to slap some meat coming up. And I think that's why you make, if we're talking about it, that's why you make Gunther the champion. And then you can have your Bronson Reeds, you can have your Rusevs, you can have your Drew McIntyres, you can have your Sheamuses, you can have, like, these are all, you know, your Goldberg. You have Goldberg coming up as well, right? So you can have Goldberg. Are we going Goldberg versus Gunther? Is that what we're going to? But it doesn't need the world title in between that. You see what I'm saying? Like, these are, I can see that. And my concern is, why use Jey to get there when you could have had that happen in its own right? Have Gunther have that whole big meaty men slapping meat on that side, and have Jey run with the title and beating people on the other side. It could happen.
I just love the meaty men slapping meat statement. It's just it never fails.
I have used that lead up to this point, and I have used that lead after this point. So, had a night to sit on it and think about it. Jey's been hot since Rumble. Jey's been hot for half a year, and he's still hot.
Yep.
When I look at this poll question, this is not more of a knock to Jey in the grand scheme of I think of these things. Chrome said something where they don't know how to book Gunther. If you look at this time last year, he lost the Intercontinental title after a 666-day reign, went away, came back, won King of the Ring. His next match, he's a champion. He lost the title at WrestleMania, came back, had a match. Next match, he's champion again. Who is his identity without the title? So Gunther actually is probably more lost because he doesn't have an identity if he doesn't have a title. Jey already has an identity when he has a title. He doesn't have a title. I look 7-week reign, 6-week reign, whatever it is, but he was hot. He's been the man for the past 6 months when it comes to merch sales, entrance, and everything. This harkens me back to Rhea and Io on Raw when Rhea had somebody else who was looking forward, and Io won the title. Rhea was already made. Io kind of was floundering, and she's taken this and she's ran with it somewhat. Women's world title is a little still irrelevant. as to who we see what this does for us, I like just looking at Gunther in the vacuum. Yes, he's a heel currently right now, and he's not even a top heel on the brand that he's on, because that goes to Seth, who they're still getting cheers, what have you, right? But there's not a lot of faces on Raw that I really want to see him go against. I think essentially the mystery man is either going to be, or it's going to be Goldberg, and then Goldberg's going to win King of the Ring. He gets to SummerSlam. They need to sell something because they need to have 2 nights of main events because it's a 2-nighter. Goldberg wins or Gunther wins, Seth cashes in or what have you, whatever happens, right? Do we like it? No. Is Jey truly hurt by it? In a way, yes. In a way, no. Even with Braun took a step forward after he won back the Intercontinental title. Jey necessarily doesn't need the title. Would we like him to have had the title and had the title longer? Of course. But it is really dependent. I think once again, this speaks volumes more to where Gunther is and what they view him as versus where they view Jey. They view Jey further ahead, not just because of, and this is a single star, not just because of his tenure in the WWE, but because they see the reactions, right? And Gunther, without the title, he's floundering. Right now, if you would have had Rusev come back and have Gunther talk all that, I'm this, I'm that, Rusev come in and he just looking back face to face, then you get that, like Neeson said, the big meaty man slapping meat, right? That's what you get. I would love to have Rusev as a face right now, but now he's already involved with something with Sheamus. So it's I don't know if transitional is the right word. It's almost, you could say it's more efficient in the roster because Jay's going to be okay. If Gunther didn't have the title, if Gunther loses that match, what do you do with him at that point? He's been on the roster how long now?
I know, but so all right, so do we want to open a can of worms here? Real quick, Brad down here, Brad Kryson, thank you for your comment. Checking in, let's talk about Jacob Fatu tournament solo. We will touch on that shortly, buddy. So please stay tuned, and anybody else, love the comments, keep them coming in. We'll try to get to a few of them as we go along here. If we want to open a can of worms, right, and we're talking about what Gunther's run was like, and kind of the same thing with Jey, right? You look at Jey and you're like, okay, like, who are really his opponents that he has? Like, are we talking about an issue with they don't know how to book Gunther? Because they booked him perfectly as the Intercontinental Champion. So is the issue that there's not enough top talent at the top of the roster in the main event picture and their mid-card, which for so many years was essentially, I don't want to say it was meaningless, but it was very, very blah. Like, is that the issue now where we've transitioned to the mid-card is back to being like the hot division?
Chrome, I hate when you and I share a wrestling brain.
It kind of is.
That's what I'm looking at, because he was unbelievable as the Intercontinental Champion. It's why it made sense to put the title on him at this point.
Right. So here, my thought on this is, I actually agree that it was a good move to take the title off of Jey and give it back to Gunther for 2 reasons. Number one, if Jey can get that title back at SummerSlam and they elevate him by giving him 2 victories over Gunther, then for me, it's a good move. Mm-hmm. And let's also sort of think back. I mean, obviously the name of the show is Lazy Booking. What is some of the laziest booking that WWE can do? It's booking 101. The money is in the chase. The heel is the champion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's, it feels very lazy, but to me, it just seems like they are setting up to have babyface Jey Uso or perhaps maybe babyface Sami Zayn win the world title from Gunther at, night 1 of SummerSlam. And then, who knows if it's going to be John Cena, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Goldberg, your sister's ass, whoever is in the main event of night 2 of SummerSlam. But it's, I feel like this is just a, another example of lazy booking, that they know that Jey is going to be over to the hilt, whether he's got a title or not.
Yep.
Pete, to your point, the loss doesn't hurt Jey.
Nope.
In fact, it probably helps him because it makes him the the sympathetic babyface all over again.
He lost in front of his son.
Yeah, exactly. He lost in front of his son. He is the absolute sympathetic babyface.
I'm going to add on to that, and then I know Neeson's like biting his lip over there. He's got something to say, but let me throw this in because maybe I'll give you a little more fuel to your fire.
Yeah.
I want to add to that as well that I a lot of what you said, Mike, I'm in with. My view of how this is going to go, I'm going to also agree to this poll, and I don't think that I did when I developed the question.
Mm-hmm.
But I was borderline and also hearing the conversation. I do look at Jey, and we talked about how over he is. He's lost zero steam. If anything, he gains it. I don't know that this loss really hurts him in the long run. Short term, I could see why it would look that way. I really truly believe the end game is to make Gunther a monster babyface, and I believe it's transition. And at SummerSlam, whoever he goes against, right? You could do heel versus heel, or however you want to do it, and put somebody. I think Seth cashes in on him, and at some point we're going to have a draft. And it wouldn't shock me if Roman ends up going over to wherever Seth, even if they keep them apart until SummerSlam. Roman ends up on another brand. Those two end up going back for the title, and Roman ends up getting the title back either at Rumble or at WrestleMania. Honestly, I think that's going to be it because I don't know if we're going to get Rock next year. So I think Roman and Seth as a main event, the two former Shield guys, is the long game here. And if that ends up being what this is, although I don't like transition champ to get to there, the end justifies the means for me. Go ahead, Neeson.
It's to me, you need the story, and you don't need the title to make the story. The story should make the title, and that's how I always view great wrestling to me. And so with Jey, like you said, the obvious, they're going to make him and build him up to probably headline a SummerSlam night. There's no story. They killed the story there. Like they killed it. Like unless they do, because remember, Gunther didn't have to do anything to get a rematch. He beat up Pat McAfee and then came out and said June 9th, I'm fighting you for the title, so you better be ready. Like he did nothing. There was no story there, nothing. So now not only did he beat him with no story attached to it, where he says like, I have to get my come up to something. He didn't attack him after. It was nothing like that. It was done. That's it. It's over. Left Jey in a ring, and now on to the next thing. And to me, it makes Jey is over. Like but it makes him like Sami Zayn. It makes him like Mankind. It makes him like any other top tier mid card that could play main event babyface and always get a sympathy pop. Right, but you're never really sniffing that main event actual title chase that you should really be at.
But is it the worst thing to be Mankind, though? He's a Hall of Famer, and he's to this day one of the most beloved.
I think at the end of the day, like, just no, it's not. Right, it's not the worst thing to be Sami Zayn. It's not the worst thing to be Mankind. Like, if we're talking about anything, like, yeah, Sami Zayn is probably the next smaller baby face that's going to be primed up to beat Gunther, but you have the big guys right there, and we seen it happen in NXT Black and Gold towards the end, where they started shifting to the big guys with Karrion Kross, and that's what Triple H and Hunter wanted to build out, right? I mean, Triple H and Shawn Michaels wanted to build out. We seen it on Raw and SmackDown over the years. The same thing. Your champion has to have that same kind of build or lineage to whatever they need to run through, whether they're good or bad. So I see Sami Zayn being the baby face of that, but that means, again, where does Jey go? Like, with nothing.
Well, and Pete brought it up, right? And we all kind of glazed over it when he brought it up. That Monday night, there's that fatal 4-way with the mystery man on Raw for the King of the Ring. And I love the Roman answer. I hate the Goldberg answer.
Right.
As I'm sitting here, I like the Karrion Kross answer too. Would it be too far out of left field to put Jey in that spot?
Not at all.
He won the Rumble. He won the Rumble, right? Got a title shot, won the championship. he wins King of the Ring in the same year.
But who does he have to go through to do it? That's the subplot.
Run. I have it.
You don't have to look.
I had it right here.
All big guys. It's big, meaty men.
It's not that, but I'm saying if it is Jey and he goes through in that fatal 4-way in the semifinals, he gets Sammy.
Well, no. The very next match, he gets Cody.
Is it no? Who won? But who won? Oh, that's right. Cody's on that side of the bracket.
Yeah.
But I mean, imagine the finals of the King of the Ring. It's Jey versus Sammy.
That's a beautiful story, right? Because you have to assume, like if we play this out for a second,
right?
You have to assume that I think Orton would win his side, so Orton, Sammy, then Cody's definitely winning that match. That mystery man, if it's Roman or Jey, they're winning.
I could see it being Roman, and you can do Roman versus Gunther at Mania. I mean, at SummerSlam, that sells it. And what do you have the same exact ending that you had in 31? Seth cashes in. Real quick before we move on, I heard this analogy of Gunther today, and Neeson has the Marvel sign up, and and about
Neeson has the best setup behind him.
So this arm right here,
he's a professional. So
and about my birthday is July 11th. This is going to have an Infinity Gauntlet on it somewhere, right? So exactly.
Yes.
I've heard Gunther compared to he is the inevitable, where all this hype, all this story, listen what I'm saying, because it's just he's just a ring general. All that extra stuff, all those intangibles that you bring into it, when you get in the ring with me, that doesn't happen. There is no fairy tale ending. You're going to get put in this sleeper hold. You're going to get put in this power bomb. You're going to get this clothesline. It ain't going to be pretty. You don't know how the end is going to finish, but you're not better than me inside this square circle. We'll see if they lean into that, but that's kind of what you said. The lack of the push, the lack of the story is just, listen, I'm this dude in this ring. When you cut out all the bullshit, you take out all the frills, all the yeet 4 letters, 1 word, beat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you done. You can't beat me in that sense, right? Gunther went off the top rope at WrestleMania, cost him. He didn't do that last night. He learned from his mistakes.
He did do it.
There's one thing we also got to sort of keep in mind here, because, Pete, I think you're right there. But, Neeson, to your point, you said, what did Gunther do to get the rematch? He basically invoked his rematch clause. He didn't beat anybody. He didn't do anything. He didn't go through anyone. He just invoked his rematch clause.
But they don't have a rematch
clause that we were told doesn't exist anymore.
Well, we're
exists.
told a lot of things, and they go away. I mean, how many times?
I'm all for retcon, but Jesus.
Right, but how many times have we been told that once you win the King of the Ring, or once you win Money in the Bank one time, you're not in it again, and now we have multiple time Money in the Bank winners. So
I forgot about
that.
I was like,
if all else fails, and they are just completely stuck for a direction, they can easily just turn around and have Jey invoke his rematch clause.
See, but I think that's the thing. Like, it's the story, and I hate to harp on it because because you pull that trigger. Right, like they pulled the trigger with the mankind situation. You know it's not going to last long. You know it's just going to be a shotgun thing. And I think if you do that again, now you're telling your fans like, oh, like don't trust this hype. Don't believe this. Don't believe in this title reign. It's not going to last long.
I'd be okay
only for a
with
short
that.
amount of period of time.
Yeah, you're telling me it's good enough to sell merch, but he's not good enough to be the face of the company or one of the faces of the company. I get it.
That's
Joe Henry.
I love Joe
Also,
Henry.
yes. But I would be okay with the shotgun championship runs if they happen more often. If it's not, all right, you're a champion for 40 days, and then the next guy's a champion for 285, right?
It's a new championship.
Guy. Exactly. Like, Seth won the title and didn't drop it for 8 or 9 months.
Yeah. But then every run since then has been 2, 3 months.
Well, no. Gunther was pretty long.
Gunther won it at SummerSlam. He lost, so he was about 8 months.
And Priest was 6.
Yeah,
Priest was like 6 months.
No, Priest was 4. He was Mania to SummerSlam.
Mania to SummerSlam, so it's 4. right? So April to August, he was 4. So yeah, how long did Jay have?
7 weeks. It's
Like-
more time between now and SummerSlam than his reign.
Yes.
Literally.
But if
days.
So if you are going to do shotgun title runs, I'm okay with that. If you're going to be more consistent with it, if you're going to wedge a 7-week run in between 2 6-month runs, right? Everybody's going to forget about the fact that Jey Uso held the title for 7 weeks.
But back to Madalaki's point, the chase. It was
I get the
months.
chase. I'm all for the chase, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the chase. But at the same time, at least let the chase, like, let the payoff matter. And giving him 7 weeks where, admittedly, right, he barely came out with the title some nights, right, to do run-ins and different things like that. But you were lackluster with it, right?
So Andy, I want to piggyback on something you just said because I like where your head's at. I think the person who throws a wrench into this whole theory for you, believe it or not, is John Cena. And the reason that I say that is because we know the John Cena title run is going to have a finite ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you rewind 2 years, you had Roman Reigns as your dominant world heavyweight champion with a title reign that just went on and on and on, and he was your constant. But that other title, and I don't even want to call it a secondary title, but that other world heavyweight championship became the title that, to your point, you could hotshot title changes and elevate guys by having them win that title. And it didn't.
You didn't do it.
It didn't bring the title down at all by hotshotting it because you still had, the tribal chief who was clearly at the top of the food chain company-wide.
That right there, everybody's not Roman.
That.
Everybody's not Cody. When you have that guy, you strap the rocket to him and you have that guy. I hate to say it, Jay's not that guy. Jay's not.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
you know
Pete, you're spot on. But I think to Andy's point, you can hotshot title changes as much as you want if you have a guy on the other side or on the other show who is still that dominant, constant champion.
And you're saying Cena kind of is that, but isn't that?
He's not, because we know that there's a finite end to his
reign. His name just came up. I think Neeson said his name. He clapped. His hill to the TNA World Championship was crazy. How many close calls did he have? Look how short that lasted. Not even. You see what I'm saying?
Because the money's in the chase.
Well, I
don't doesn't need it. The money and the story is in the chase. We don't like it.
Right. I don't
agree with
that at all, right?
I think it's
lazy. Either you like it or you don't like it. Learn to love it.
Yeah, it is lazy booking, right? Because it's like the time-old tradition of we've seen it and we will never stop seeing it. But listen, it's going to be really interesting to see where we go from here with Jey, obviously with Gunther. I think this is definitely a topic we'll be revisiting quite often. So let's transition here, not transitional champion-wise. And let's move into Money in the Bank. Let's hit some of the highlights of this. Obviously, the card opens up. We have the women's match. Naomi ends up winning this Money in the Bank match. I don't know how I feel about it because I love Naomi. I don't love. I can't get past the Owen Hart attire though. But I do like this version of her. I do know she's talked very openly about approaching the winding down. She would like to start a family. So I like seeing a heel run, like a legitimate heel run from her. And she's been in a lot of these matches. So I get that. So many of these young rookie people in here, maybe it's, hey, they could take a loss and it doesn't hurt them. I think we could have maybe not had a Stephanie Vaquer or anybody like that in this match necessarily and waited to maybe bring her around after the match. But overall, I love Stephanie. Listen, I love her. We got it twice in one day.
I'm
Again,
laughing at Neeson.
she's a tremendous wrestler.
He is so offended. He's
My
so hurt.
God.
My thing is, listen, they brought everyone that they brought up. They basically threw in this match with Naomi.
Completely hot-shotted them into the match.
And I don't like that because I feel like Stephanie should be on this. They have done such an amazing job with her in NXT.
Yes.
Honestly, coming onto the main roster, even better than I think the position that Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley were in. I think they've made her an absolute monster. And I know it's a Money in the Bank, so it's fluky, but I don't like the idea of she loses out of the gate pretty much. And that's my issue with it. But that aside, I'm very interested to see how this goes for Naomi because I do think she's a very intriguing character.
Yeah, I gotta kind of lean in with Chrome on that one, right? I wasn't super excited about Naomi winning it. I think she's just kind of getting started with this true heel run, right? The attire's god awful. I'm sorry, it's just awful.
Should she do yellow with the black instead of the black with the yellow?
I don't know, man. I don't think the caution tape's necessary. I think it's abysmal. But
I just think it's very Owen Hart. But maybe that's one of her influences. I don't know.
And maybe, right? But that's besides the point.
You know that? A bunch of nuggets. Let me tell you.
Shut up over there.
A bunch of nuggets.
Right? But
not a nugget.
What I have the biggest issue with, and I can't get past it, Alexa Bliss is back.
Oh, they're fumbling that.
She came back at the Rumble.
That's another one too, yeah.
Right? She's in this match, doesn't win. What are you doing with Alexa? Right? You have her do these weird little like talks with Charlotte Flair, and that maybe that's going to blossom into something wonderful. I don't know, but probably easily the most over woman in that match that people would want to see hold that and have the most fun with it. I don't think Naomi, unless they pull a rabbit out of their ass, I don't think she's going to have as good a run with this briefcase as some of the other people in that match could.
I think she cashes in quick.
I think she has to.
She has to. Her cashing has to be quick.
So I know in past years we've talked about who needs a Money in the Bank win. And I actually do think Naomi needed the Money in the Bank win.
And that's where I can agree with it, Michael, by the way. I
also think LA Knight needed the Money in the Bank win, and we see how that turned out. So
LA Knight needs to go to Raw immediately.
No.
Yeah.
But Chrome, to your point with Naomi, like to me, it actually makes the most sense for her to win because if she doesn't win, what's her storyline?
What was the ideology shift for? What's the caution tape for? We see with her from a presentation standpoint, but we're not seeing with Seth. His ideology changed. Naomi, we got completely new music, new gear, whether we hate it or we love it. It's completely new, a new edge. And you have to justify that and validate that for some point. Hell, we may get into it later. We just seen a dude cut his locks off. You know what that means to somebody? I don't know what's left of the locks for the past 30 years, but he cut them off.
If you've seen Neeson's, he can totally understand.
You can see out the back of his hat.
But what that means to someone when you do that, what that symbolizes. So that lean into it, that she had to win. And now my fearfulness is every woman that's cashed in has been 100% successful.
Yep.
All right.
They made it a point to say that during the match. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know if Tiff does she cash in and do we get a Jade run in that cost her or Bianca? That. I don't know.
They said the same thing though when Tiff had the title. They made a big point when Tiff got it because you and I talked about this at length, right? Tiffany would fail. Tiffany will fail. Tiffany will fail. Not because we didn't believe in her, but they said it enough times to where it's like, all right, we know how WWE works for the most part, right? They're setting us up to say, hey, we're going to tell you she's going to win. She's supposed to win, but she's going to be that fluke, right?
See, I think she actually cashes in on Io Sky. I think it's lower hanging fruit.
But they've already did the draft. Have they formally done the draft?
No,
they have not. They haven't done a draft yet. and the disrespect that you guys have put on Stephanie's name.
Whoa!
I'm with you.
Look at
Devil's-
this guy over
the
here.
Devil's Kiss is the
ginger
greatest
dude over here.
wrestling move of all time. But also, just if we're talking about that match, and I get your point about the new girls going up and they're losing well, but I think to me this was the best way to showcase them without quote unquote giving them the loss in a sense of
Like not
singles
hurting them.
matches.
No, that makes
Right.
sense.
Like,
That makes
It was
sense.
a show, and you were putting them with, right next to Rhea, which Rhea, like it or not, she's like the hottest shining star they have. And when you have them working and Rhea's selling for them, Rhea sold the hell out of for Roxanne and for Stephanie, right? So if you have Rhea working with them, it automatically gives them the rub, in my opinion, and like it makes them feel more of like, oh, they're meant to be here. Now, granted, we know they're meant to be there, but it really shows they're meant to be there. But the person with the story and the person that needed it was Naomi. And I don't understand how you guys don't like the Carmella inspired with the caution tape thing, with the caution tape, the money with the caution tape on it. She had the money. When she first won the Money in the Bank, she had almost that exact same outfit. And all they did was just add the money around it.
The dimensions is different.
Yeah, well, a lot different. In all the best ways. But yeah. So to me, like, her winning was the best thing, and I hear that of like, I thought the same thing with the 100% thing and the women's cashing in. They always got it. But if you think about it, this does nothing but better this big three woman storyline with Bianca, Jade, and Naomi, because now Naomi is literally going to sit back and wait. What do we have? We had Jade confront Charlotte. If Jade beats Charlotte at whatever point, that's going to prime Jade to have a shot at the title at some point. If Jade wins or is about to win and Naomi runs down and cashes in at an Evolution or something like that, or Bianca works their way back and Naomi cashes in at an Evolution or a SummerSlam, like, that's, now we have another layer to this big three story, which in my opinion just ramps up to do a triple threat match at Mania next year.
Oh,
like,
no.
I think the triple threat happens at SummerSlam. I think they're gonna.
It has to happen at SummerSlam because I'm gonna not care about it real quickly if you make it last that long.
You say that, but if she cashes in, if they wait and give Jade a marquee match for the title at SummerSlam, if she beats Charlotte, she goes through Charlotte, goes to somebody else, gets to Stephanie, has Tiffany, beats Tiffany at or about to be whatever it is, and Naomi does a run-in, does a Seth Rollins run-in and beats Tiffany for the title, beats Tiffany and Jade. Now you got another 6 months out of that.
You can do that at Evolution. Right, you can
it's
absolutely.
It's too quick.
No,
that's
because
a whole other thing.
Again, I'm gonna agree with Pete. I'm gonna die on this hill that she needs to cash it in quick.
I don't think she does. I think she needs to develop the character more.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with that.
Great.
Yep.
Great opinions. But I'm still gonna keep rolling here. She cashes in at Evolution, and then you do the Bianca, Jade, Naomi triple threat that I was supposed to get back at WrestleMania when it was primed and ready to go. You do it at SummerSlam.
It's still hot.
Make my head hurt.
You're building three different people individually. Like, Bianca is going to rebuild her baby face since just being injured and being run through everything. You're building her. Naomi is becoming a real heel. You need a solid heel out of this. Like, and Naomi needs to become that. So now you take that time and build her. And how you build her to solidify, like, okay, like our major, you have Jade cost SmackDown. She should not.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that man all that often. But now, out of pure spite, I might.
Well, he didn't even spell her name right at all.
Yeah.
Well, but he doesn't spell much right. So, but let me make something very clear here. I am notorious for when I'm wrong, I will come on the air and eat crow. However,
you eat a lot of crow.
Why do you think I look the way I do? However, when I'm right, I expect to see you all the Monday after SummerSlam.
Okay.
All right.
Can I ask a favor?
Yeah.
Can we just take Jade out of this conversation? Legitimately,
we have an issue with the female Goldberg. Let's talk about it.
without her being able to walk up to Tony Schiavone and say, "Cut the shit, Tony," there is literally nothing to her gimmick.
Now it is,
and she's horrible. She's horrible.
Okay, horrible is a stretch. Horrible
is she like
horrible is a
run
Pedro
nine backs
Pascal
horrible
stretch
or
right now.
Wait, hold on. No, too many of you talking at the same time. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just said that was a Pedro Pascal stretch. But go ahead. What did
I
you
was
say?
saying is you said she's horrible. Is she Nia Jax's first version horrible?
She just, to me, I don't even find her entertaining.
Okay.
She's Tamina Snuka. Got it.
She's like kitchen run.
Whoa. The slander.
Jade Cargill is kitchen run for me.
Is it so? You think? Do you think that her direction and her like who's producing her? They're just relying too much on her looks, because I think she's decent in the ring, but they're not giving her enough time to talk or say cut the shit.
So you want me to be real honest about this, because it's going to set all of the AEW bots off.
Yes, do it.
I actually think they're relying on the reputation that she developed in AEW.
I can see that.
The fact that she went undefeated for so long.
Well, that's why you brought her in, so of course you are.
AEW as their competition, but I feel like the myth that is Jade Cargill was completely developed in AEW.
But that's why you bring her in, because of what was developed there. It made her a desirable asset.
But I don't think they've done anything to
elevate her.
I know this is not even subjective. This is actual fact. They have we just seen her promo that she cut, or just the backstage segment that she had with Charlotte. To me, was her best on mic segment she had in a very, very, very long time.
Okay, and that's fair. That's fair.
And it really showed, like, great when she's standing next to Charlotte. It's okay. This could be a money match. And again, I think what AEW did well was that's why I joked about the Goldberg thing, was they kept it short. They kept her matches short. They didn't want to see 5-star matches. They kept it short. She was big, she was buff, she was tough, and she was pretty. Great. Do your big boot, do your moves, and then do your kiss of whatever it is. I forgot what it is, and get out. What WWE is like, look, if you work this main event, you can't be the 5 minutes in and out. Right? Like that's what you can't. But we're gonna put you in, which I thought that was my whole campaign. I was saying put her in a tag team, and a friend Flobito was like, no, like she doesn't need to be in a tag team. I'm like, yes, she does. She needs to be able to learn.
She was more insulated when she was in a tag team.
Yes. But you're able to learn timing and learn match structure. She's only been wrestling for 2.5-3 years, right?
Right. So she's only been wrestling 2.5-3 years. And she's been in a tag team pretty much her entire tenure in WWE.
Yes.
You really putting her in the ring with Charlotte at this point?
No, but what you can do is put her in a triple threat with Naomi and Bianca to insulate her even more, but she doesn't have to do much.
Yep.
I think with her going against, you brought it up, Nia Jax. Now, look, I'm biased. I think as a person, Nia Jax is an incredible person, and also as a wrestler, she was not a bad wrestler. I think she got caught up in a lot of different things. People over rotating when they shouldn't rotate. It was a whole bunch of things, and she's a bad wrestler. The one thing that not saved Nia Jax was always her expressions and her selling, and to be able to be larger than life. And I think once Jade figures that, which I think she's almost there, right? I think in AEW she didn't have to be that, but I think she's almost there, and I think she's almost there to the point where she can work that main event selling style, like I don't mean to link the skill level together, but the selling level together, like a Roman Reigns, like Roman Reigns was when he was younger, when he was 20 whatever, back when he did 31 at Mania, when he wasn't technically that good, but he was selling his ass off to be that good, and he learned how to work that main event. Like Rhea Ripley, same thing. She learned how to work that main event with Charlotte back in the NXT when she had the Mania inside of COVID, when she was dressed like Vegeta. right? But she learned how to really sell her ass off to work that main event and come back up. I think Jade is at that point. And I think she could really turn it this year, this next 6 months, going into this next Mania is really going to be the turning key for her if they really put her in a ring with the right people. And I think people like Charlotte, people like Nia Jax, how they had like that match, and people like veterans that can force her to be like, stay your ass down, or stay now, hey, come back, speed up, slow down. Now we can get to that. And I think with the roster the way it is now, she could be able to have that, you know, because she didn't go to NXT. So I don't think she's bad. I not at all. I think she's a lot better than what people give her credit for.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment as well. And all the points about insulation, and honestly, it's having the experience without having to carry the whole match, right? By being able, and she's gotten in the ring in terms of their tag team with so many different styled wrestlers. It's learning on the job. And is that fair to some other people who've gone through the NXT program or gone through their little NIL program at the Performance Center? Maybe not. But she went somewhere, she built a brand name for herself, and they made a significant investment in her. So they're going to try to get her out there and get her in the ring and try to maximize on that investment as quickly as possible.
ROI.
So I think at the end of the day, that's where that's at. Let's move on. We're just going to skip around here. The men's Money in the Bank. I don't know if we have to say a whole lot about this because I didn't think it was like, I think it was kind of predictable at this point, but just thoughts on the match. Because like for me, we talked about Seth and we understand where that was going, and it was the more likely outcome. Could they have gone to LA Knight? Sure, but I think Misa makes a lot of good points in terms of story. I don't know where the LA Knight story goes right after that. I just think the end game is going to justify the means as far as Seth goes, so I'm fine with it. I thought Penta came out of this looking like $1 million.
Oh, $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And obviously we got the turn mid-match for Jacob Fatu. Beautiful. So I think that's my two big takeaways. I think Jacob Fatu is going to be one of those guys who can be the absolute unbeatable. I think he's going to be what they wanted Braun Strowman to be in terms of a monster on a face run when they tried to turn Braun face, and I think that just kind of flamed out. I don't think it will with Jacob.
So I have a question for you, though, Chrome.
Yeah.
Does Jacob turning babyface mean that at some point Roman goes back to the dark side?
No.
Because there is big money in a Jacob Fatu Roman Reigns match.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's something you can do later.
Yeah, there's a lot of other dominoes that need to fall, and we got to work through a lot of other stuff before we cross that bridge. So eventually, yes, I think we get there.
I like what you said, and you even said it too, Chrome. Jacob with the face run. I don't know how we get there, because ultimately, I think Saturday night's main event, July 12th, I think it is, or around that time frame, we get Solo versus Jacob for the U.S. title. After that, I think the same thing you said about Gunther, that's going to happen with Solo. If we got this mannerisms where he's mocking everyone and his personality is coming through, the whole crowd is laughing at some point. So I think this is just that fall where we get Jacobs turn his back on him now. He's going to lose. JC will probably turn his back on him as well. And he's starting to get more into that I don't know where we get Jacob, because Jacob can be truly a tweener. He doesn't have to change anything. He doesn't have to. It
works both ways.
Yeah, he can just live in that void of just, I'm this dude. You know I'm that good. I'm gonna bust your ass. If I don't like you, I'm gonna jump you every time I see you. What have you? Right. So he's in a very good place. It's just almost to this point, like, how long do you wait before you truly pull that proverbial trigger on him and take him to that next level? But I mean, right now the U.S. title he's done more with the U.S. title, and it's more credible than when LA Knight had it 2 times, and Shinsuke had it, and Logan had it. Yeah. The last time that the U.S. title had a credible champion like this, Bobby, maybe.
And that's the point that I wanted to bring up with the LA Knight. a lot of talk about, what does LA Knight have to do? Like, he should all these things that I see online. And honestly, Jacob Fatu killed LA Knight. Like that's just what it is. He stepped into the babyface role that they wanted LA Knight to be in, and now he's up that with attitude, right? Like, so if you have that, if you run that, you have to keep. I mean, LA Knight can go against Jacob Fatu. They can go up for the U.S. title. I believe they did already, but they could do that, right, with this new babyface turn. But what does that really do? Like, what is what are you really going to have the crowd doing? Are you going to have them killing it? Are you just going to go back and forth? This is just going to be a babyface thing, or is Jacob Fatu really going to play that aggression role and really come out and smash LA Knight? I think that's out of the men's ladder match, that was my first thought of like, damn, Jacob Fatu killed LA Knight, but dope for Jacob Fatu because I can't wait to see where they go with him. And I didn't even think about Roman just because I think you get there at some point and it could be just for whatever title that somebody has, right? Like that's a thing where you want a title in between because just got out soon.
Fresh out of work with the polo, baby.
It's fine. I was fresh off of work too, but I show up with like crazy shit on at work, so it's a little let's say something. But yeah, so I thought the match was dope though. I thought the real winner like it was Penta, and I'm honestly curious to see him. Are they gonna give him that Intercontinental mid-card run moving into a main title slot?
Anybody else? Any other thoughts before we move on?
No, I'm itching to talk about Joey DiBardino's comment and the whole RTruth thing. So I'm patiently waiting.
Who's RTruth? He's going. I don't know.
Ron Killings. My
Killings.
bad. Man, I was on a plane yesterday for 12 hours.
I'm gonna make just a small comment as far as the women's Intercontinental title goes.
Great match, probably great match.
Yeah,
I know the Baxter comes out on top again because that doesn't work for her brother. But I will tell you right now, I think this is the best thing for Lyra Valkyria.
Yes.
I think she has, just over the last month, has shown so much personality, and she is such a phenomenal in-ring worker. And what's the thing we've talked about on your guys' show, right? It's been personality.
Yeah.
When are we going to see more? I think she's starting to tick the box now, and working with her idol, and honestly, the Chase, I think, is going to benefit this particular performer.
Do you think the Chase of the Intercontinental, because you have Bailey now coming in, right?
I think so that adds a different layer, Neeson. I think. Yeah. She wasn't happy with Bailey when she jumped in yesterday.
A few different layers. It was a few different. That was white
what
pin.
it's really going to come down to with Lyra, Becky, and even now Bailey now, it's not so much the chase for the title for Lyra. It's going to be being able, like Neeson was saying, to work with some of these veteran talents. And because she's great in the ring, that's not what we're honing in on. We're going to hone in on that personality, on developing that character, and really blossoming on the microphone in the, when you sell, showing, you can sell really well, but can you sell with personality? Can you let that character really flourish and really come out, more than just what's on the paper? Right. And that's what I think Lyra's going to benefit here. Because do I think Lyra gets the title back on her right now? No, I think somehow we filter it down to where it's Bailey, Becky, and they're really going for that title here.
So you get Bailey, Becky for the IC title at Evolution. That's a match.
Probably. But I think Lyra wins here from being able to develop herself more.
Yeah. The question for you, so Lyra's been on the roster now for what, 6 months, almost a year?
Yeah.
Do you me personally, everybody that was in just from a personality and character standpoint, I already think Stephanie and Roxanne are ahead of her.
Oh, 100%.
I was not a Lyra fan. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. When she came out, I thought it was a gimmick off of Tyra Valkyria.
Okay, I can see that.
I literally was like, what is this? And then even when she came, I was really odd and just confused why they brought her up in the main roster rather than Roxanne at the time, because I thought Roxanne Perez was ready way before her. I still think Kiana Jordan or Fallon Henley, or I could have a list of women that I think are really ready, that I thought was ready.
And yet JC Jane's the champion down there.
Well, let's look.
Conversation for another day.
We started off with transitional champions.
Yeah, we talk about Jada Parker at least should have won that over JC.
But we digress.
Yes. But another name that I feel that could be slotted personality wise right next to these people, and then they could work with these veterans to figure it out. I think this was the opposite of, like everyone said, like she was a amazing in ring worker, and now she's just starting to kind of come under her personality wing and working with these veterans and having someone like Becky. Rather, look, she is, that doesn't work for me, brother. She is that, right? But at the same time, she's gonna do what you have to do to pull it out of you, and you can see it. And Bailey the same, and that's why those 4 horsewomen, Charlotte with Jade, like they pull it out of you, And so, I'm happy to see her kind of turn the page, because I'm like, okay, yeah, she could work, but now I'm starting to see personality. But Bailey versus Bex for the Intercontinental Championship at a Evolution that's a money match for sure.
It is a money match, 100%. Agree with that. Mike, any quick thoughts before we move on? We got about give or take 15 minutes left. I want to get on 2 topics here.
So it's not Money in the Bank related, but it is Saturday related. Can we talk about Mr. Iguana for a minute?
Can we? I just ordered a Topps card.
I mean, that guy's got aura out the wazoo. Like, they need to get him main roster ready ASAP, because that guy is just it.
And if nobody's seen, I know we're not going to have time to talk about it, but WWE NXT Worlds Collide with AAA, top to bottom, it was a fantastic show.
Absolutely.
Love that Conan was a part of it with Corey Graves. Corey Graves put out an amazing tweet, actually, about what an honor it was for him to work that. So, and it's free on YouTube. So if you don't subscribe to Peacock and you want to watch it, go to WWE's YouTube page and watch it top to bottom. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. Especially the Kingo versus Gable.
AAA has a show on June 15th on YouTube that has Mr. Laguana, that has Joe Hendry, that has like all these TNA people, which is, very interesting, but a whole TNA and a couple of WWE people sprinkled in there. So, and it's on free and it's on their YouTube, on June 15th. So I think it's a great way to showcase this promotion that they quote unquote bought,
Yeah. So make sure you guys check that out. So obviously, some big topics before we get to the primary topic, to back end here, the bookend. Just quick thoughts. John Cena, CM Punk, we're getting it one final time. I know Annie and Pete, I was in this very ring quite a few times earlier this year when we heard about this, and one of the first match I listed was, 2 of them. I wanted Randy Orton, we got that.
Yep.
I wanted CM Punk, and then I said I wanted AJ Styles if they can get to that one. So I got at least 2. If that's the 2 I get, I'm happy. I can't get Edge because he's over being the Edge store over in AEW right now.
Cope.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get this. But quick thoughts for anybody that wants to just chime in on this, because I'm sure we'll be touching on this in the next couple of weeks.
I love the fact how they got to it of just saying, you have to follow me to Saudi Arabia, knowing people's feelings and thoughts on it. And the heel said it. You have to fight. If you want it, Punk, you stand for the people. You're all about fighting for what's right. Well, guess you got to follow me to Saudi Arabia if you want this. And he agrees. And so I love that aspect of it, because there's so many layers under that. So kudos to them for being able to get it that way.
I love the imagery of Punk saying right out the gate, here we are, what was it, 10 years later, and essentially the roles have been reversed.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that. Punk's side of that promo was so good last night.
Yeah.
And it was probably one of his better ones that he's done since he's been back. So very, very happy about that.
And hats off to Punk because he was the first one that night to say Ron Killings before anyone else.
We got Ron Killings.
Yeah, you brought back Ron Killings. And hindsight, real quick, I can see Punk going over and Seth cashing. That'd make perfect sense. Because that goes back to somebody else. What somebody else said that everybody's so set on Seth cashing in the world heavyweight.
Yeah. So yeah. But also Punk. If anything, Punk or Rollins hates, it's Punk.
Yes.
Right. So yeah.
But I love it. I mean, it's a little early, but we'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold out on this. I'm going to reserve the right to rejoin Lazy Booking at a later date because I have an entire thought process on Seth Rollins.
Listen, I'm going to have an open panel on this show. On weeks I don't do interviews, I'm going to have open discussions. If you're free and you want to come on, let me know. Or I'm going to be reaching out. It's not always going to be the same people. But that's what I like about it. It's going to be a fun, dynamic conversation. And you, obviously, you all know that you have the open invite.
Yeah, I feel like Seth, Punk, Cena, Cody. There's a bit of a long game there. And I have a theory, but I think it's way too early to dive into it. So I'm going to withhold it and we'll revisit.
I'm going to just turn this mic on here.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, there's an issue with my microphone. So anyway, all right, let's get into the final topic here. The big surprise of Money in the Bank coming off of a really big week last week. Like last week, and you can check the A2D archives. You can check the Lazy Booking YouTube page where we also post the show too. Last week we had Santino Marella on. And I mean, big news was obviously Ron Killings' RTruth not being renewed to WWE, not having his contract renewed. Even Santino said last week, he contacted him. He told him, hey, man, a lot of people ask me, why don't we try to get you two together in a tag team? Come over here. And he talked to him about the schedule and what it could be like and how it can open up opportunities in the independent circuit to work at his leisure and to make money. Everybody did not expect that this was going to happen. If you said you do, you're a liar. But obviously, we get the big moment. Somebody comes in, tackles John Cena, and stands up, hooded person. They take the hood off. RTruth, not looking like RTruth, right? Which we find out later on why. Comes in very stoic, stands over Cena, hits him with the title belt, throws the belt out of the ring, ducks out, and he runs through the crowd and gets out of it. Last night on Monday Night Raw, he comes out again through the crowd, stands up onto the announce desk, and I'm not even going to dive into this. Go back and watch it. You need to hear the words from the man himself. But basically lets us know he loves RTruth and he loves the fans. The fans did this. He loves RTruth. But RTruth's not the guy that's back now. He feels something different. And it's Ron Killings.
Okay, quick.
So,
sorry.
Okay, quick. I know. Somebody said in one of the groups earlier, hey, he should have came back as K Quick and then Ron Killings and had the gimmick should be he has this like personality. I'm like, he already had that with RTruth half the time. So anyway, and that's essentially what he says is that it's calling for a different version of himself, the real version of himself. So very passionate people promo.
To quiet what chants.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're the worst chants ever.
Right, but he was like, "Come on now," and those people, he had them in the palm of his hand. Yeah,
I mean, tremendous promo. So I want to actually open this with a question, guys, because I'm intrigued by your answer, and then if we go an extra 5, that's fine. We will be out of here shortly, but he's coming back. The people wanted RTruth back. Is anybody concerned that by getting Ron Killings, that this will be a short-lived thing?
No.
Because everyone loves RTruth. They love the gimmick and the character. Now, when you get 3 months of not having the same thing, I loved it in TNA, so I'm all for the Ron Killings character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But is there a concern on a mass scale for a lot of people who have not watched his TNA run, which again, check it out if you can find it somewhere. If you subscribe to TNA Impact Plus, is anybody concerned that this could be short-lived and we could be back from square one with Ron Killing's RTruth?
So
No.
my question: did he sign a new deal, or is this? I heard his contract doesn't expire until July.
Yeah, so he signed a deal, but basically this is his they just extended to give him his last run.
Okay.
Right. So he has a deal, but this is like his last run. That's why I don't think that's one reason why I don't think it'll sour. And the other reason is because it just like Cena, it has an end point, it has a finite end at some point. But also on the other hand, we had a version of Ron Killings in WWE just under the RTruth name when when he was with the Miz, right? When he was against John Cena. Yeah, when the truth shall, he said it like the truth shall set you free. Now that's his line of like, now he's Ron Killings and the truth has set me free. And I think those two characters, if we're saying what this Ron Killings character is going to be more like that character, more like, I think it was Capital Punishment when he headlined against John Cena. That to me reminded me of the TNA Ron Killings. That to me reminded me of the NWA Ron Killings.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna get like stale. I don't think it's gonna go fade away quickly. We're only gonna get a couple of months of it. My only concern is there's no real title, so if they're gonna have to either find, they can't make him the big bad, and this is a weird spot WWE has been in that they haven't been in a long time. They have a lot of baby faces. Yes. They have a lot of good guys, and like you can't turn. So if you're on, let's say Raw, Jey, Ron Killings, CM Punk. I mean, Cody's on SmackDown, but those three alone, before we get to Sami Zayn, Penta, like before we get to that level, like where do they? My only concern is where's the big bad that he has to kind of go against without it being a title,
But that's the beautiful thing of this, right? And I'm because we don't have a lot of time left. I'm gonna go in the long form on my answer on Monday on my show, but I have a theory of what they're gonna do with Ron Killings, John Cena, and a whole slew of other characters over the next few months that just makes it a beautiful cap off to two incredible careers.
All right, I'm not even going to give
dropping
my
a
answer
tease
then
in there,
because-
Andy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give my answer then because I'm afraid I'm going to steal Andy's thunder because literally right there in the same spot.
Me too. And Neeson said it when he said the truth shall set you free. The catalyst for Killings is bigger than the title.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What his goal is, what his role is in this last run is bigger than the title.
So then, see now I want to talk about theories. God,
so here I will extend.
Listen,
the invitation.
we have extend your invitation. We do have 8 minutes if anybody wants to throw a theory out.
I will extend the invitation. We record Monday nights right after Raw. Come on, we're gonna go into it. Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll throw my theory out, but I won't expand too much on it because I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. But I will say that it is my belief that when John Cena finally loses that title, Ron Killings will have had some involvement.
So I can see that. It is my thing is I think that's a great play now, right? Like I could see Cena saying, like, hey, like we can add this to the end of this thing, or if there's an end of this thing, right? Because he could just take it and run off, and then they start a new lineage of a championship. But yeah, I'm interested in these theories because it's going to be very interesting with this Ron Killings card being added to this John Cena farewell tour end of the year mix as we're going into, we're a couple months away from Mania season. I call Mania season starting in Survivor Series because that's really the kickoff to WrestleMania Survivor Series. So we're a couple months away.
Yeah, see, I'll give you my theory, and I'm going to try to hop on with you too, Andy, if I can on Monday night. Even though people will probably get wrestling fatigue from me, but my theory, again, I agree with you in that this character it's not about coming back for titles.
Right.
I think this is about who has made a fool of me over the last handful of years. So I think it starts with John Cena. At some point, Miz gets in the crosshairs. I think the Judgment Day could be in the crosshairs here. And it's going to be everybody who, at some point or another, made a mockery or embarrassed him. Gunther could be in the crosshairs. There's a lot of names that could be on that hit list. And I'm trying to remember, Andy.
DIY?
DIY. I mean, I think it's essentially this is going to be, I'm going to come in and show all these people who thought I was a joke who I really am. And was it Pete? Was it you that dropped his shirt in the chat that we have? I'm just trying to remember what that shirt had. It had a
hold on, I have it in my other chat pretty quick too.
So there's a saying somewhere on that chat where it's basically, give me 2 seconds to pull it up.
I actually have it saved as a background somewhere.
Of course you do.
His new shirt?
Yeah.
No, the one Pete dropped in just has all the different.
Yeah, it just has all the different versions of him. It doesn't have any words on it.
But there is one with words on it.
The Ron Killings. It says Ron Killings on it, right?
Killings is the truth. Play what you want off the last name.
It's so there's Killings is the truth, then there's Killing Spree, then there's We Want Truth.
Killing Spree was the one I saw. I'm telling you, I feel my theory on seeing that shirt is my man's coming back, and before he walks away, he's going to make sure that he checks off a lot of names on that list that did him wrong over the last few years.
Well, that's also a nod to his NWA World Heavyweight Championship run, the Killing Spree.
Killing Spree.
Yeah. The first one or the second one? I think it was the first one, wasn't it?
The first one, yeah.
The first one.
Yeah, and this shirt, they're not even releasing the shirt for another month.
Yeah, if he has a like they put in the chat hunting season, if he has like a hit list hunting season, like going into summer into the fall,
it's like he's the Punisher.
Yeah,
you see this dude pop up, and then it ain't good. He gonna be Omar from The Wire. Shout out to Michael Kenneth Williams.
Wow.
God rest his soul.
That should be that should be the character. You can't be the Punisher. I don't need him saying, hey Miz, what are you looking at me like that, Miz? Don't look at me like that.
This is the comment right here.
That's Omar from The Wire. If he start doing that whistle,
Omar coming. Yep, Omar coming.
Exactly. Omar coming. That's great, man. That's like you said, though, they're in a very advantageous spot with the roster. They could do so many things. You got so many strong, believable characters, but it's going to be like to get us back to where we started. There's not going to be long title reigns. There's only guys that you can do that long 8-10 month plus reigns with so many people.
Yep.
I agree.
This will be the I think this will be what they were anticipating and hoping for with the initial Karrion Kross run. And similar to what he did in TNA, right? Where he picked a target and basically left the clock or whatever, the sand, or I think this is what this is going to be. I really do. And honestly, if that's what this is on the way out the door, that's a hell of a way for RTruth to go out or Ron Killings to go out.
Yep.
Yeah. Agreed.
You got to go back to the beginning of the show, Martian. But synopsis, yes and no. We're indifferent. Depends on what they do.
Yeah. We had an extensive conversation at the top of the show. Make sure you go back and check it out. We're winding down here. So listen, lots of great time. Any thoughts on Nikki Bella coming back? We'll save that one. We'll save it.
It's always great to see. It's always great to look and not touch, It's always great.
Wow.
Well,
not needed.
Where do you find this guy?
Not needed. That's my thoughts on Nikki Bella. Not needed.
That's my friend over there. That's my friend.
Where was this guy during our Royal Rumble chat a few years ago?
I know, it's true. It's true.
But you can't touch.
Everybody knows where we're all at, Neeson. What? Tell us about some of your stuff you got going on, buddy, in case anybody wants to come and follow you and check you out.
Every Wednesday after AEW Dynamite, unless they do a 4-hour show.
Stupid.
We are live. THS, that hashtag show on YouTube. THS Wrestling is the wrestling portion that me and my boy John Pingel host. Or anything else THS, geek pop culture stuff, interviews, blah blah blah, all that stuff over there. So that's usually where I'm at, or I am creating stuff for vodka companies and F1 and FD and all that stuff. So
yeah,
a lot of fun things.
Yeah, Neeson's a cool guy, good time. We've hung out a few times, Disney and whatnot. Yeah, had a lot of good times. I love the hat.
Yeah,
the hat's amazing. I clocked it immediately.
I was at Miami F1 with this hat, and
there you go.
Like, you really would be? I was like, yeah, I kind of would. It's hot. It's rainy. It's a lot of things going on. I got to walk everywhere. This is stupid.
It's like Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Not as fun and
Yeah.
more expensive.
But yeah, make sure you guys check him out. That hashtag. It's a great show. I've seen it. He's done some of the media stuff at some of the PLEs and stuff, and talked to some of the talent. Really cool. So you can find some of his interviews on social media too, and reels and stuff. So appreciate you coming on, but hope to have you on again. Open invite.
Anytime, man. This is fun. You guys are this is my people here. This is the people I like talking professional wrestling to. So this is amazing.
That's it, man. We just like to come on and have fun. I appreciate Mataraki having you back. Great time. Obviously, my boy, the two boys from In This Very Ring. Nice little crossover here. Andy didn't know what a crossover was.
I mean,
he dropped a comment and he said, "We're doing a crossover show." Or he said, I love a good crossover. So I dropped the meme or the GIF of Allen Iverson crossing over Jordan. He's like,
I didn't know that's what it was called.
What that is.
I think crossover. I go to like the CW verse crossover.
He's not a sports guy.
You didn't know what an actual crossover was.
The killer crossover.
Dude, I can't. Dude,
my mind, I'm like, yeah, of course he knows what a crossover is.
Well, that's why I put it. I was putting it as this is going to be a killer crossover. That was the whole point of me dropping the GIF, but
it's like carrying crosses.
No, I say crossover. I think of like Arrow and Flash, or like crossovers like that, right? Like, I'm a nerd. I'm not a sports guy.
Andy, when we think of crossover, it's the pepperoni and the sausage mixing together in the middle of the pie.
Oh,
you know what?
That's how we live, brother. That's how
you know what?
Pepperoni and the sausage.
That's how we
amazing.
live.
I just ate that yesterday.
Swine.
Anyway, again, guys, great show, great time. Thank you guys for coming on. Everybody who commented, stuck with us, lots of comments. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow on the way out the door. Thank you to our sponsor, Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal and his team in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. We'll be back. Andy will be back on Monday. Neeson will be doing THS on Wednesday. Mike Mataraki will be popping up here and there like he always does. A little surprise. And you guys know where I'll be.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just read it.
That's okay. I'll be there for A2D Wednesday night, talking, I'm sure, some kind of Phillies or Eagles or whatever, with a great crew over there. Hockey Happy Hour follows us at 9 p.m. And for myself, for the gentleman here, for everybody at A2D Radio, appreciate you guys. Just anybody out there, what do you tell them, Andy?
What do you mean? At the end of my show?
Tell them. What do you tell them?
Tell somebody you love them. We'll see you on the other side.
Peace.